All right, it looks like we may have dropped Thalita. She may have to sign in. One of the challenges of this is going to be where she is. She's in northern Zambia. And for those of you who don't know where northern Zambia is, it's in sub-Saharan Africa, not near the equator. You're quite a bit short of the equator, but in a fairly remote area just below the Democratic Republic of Congo. She's only about 18 kilometers from the border, and it's because of the remote nature of Chimfunji and the sanctuary there. Their internet is really in and out sometimes, so we'll see what we can do about getting her online and with us so we can talk about little Joy here in a few minutes. Just to give you a little bit of background about the place. I arrived there 3 years ago to do a piece for our Apes Like Us channel. And initially, I was just there to film a story about the sanctuary, about what it does and what's there and its impact on chimps and rescuing and saving chimpanzees from around the world. Because Chimfunji is a rather unique place in that it is really full of expat chimps. There are no native chimps to Zambia. And so when David and Sheila Siddle set up Chimfunji, the goal was to take chimpanzees that were at the time mostly coming out of the Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo. In fact, when they set it up, it was actually named Zaire. And these chimps were coming out of there. They were being confiscated. They were going off into the pet trade and some medical trade. They were ending up in circuses and all kinds of places. And a warden brought them a single chimp. They took it in, and then pretty soon people heard that they were taking care of a chimp. So another chimp showed up, and another chimp showed up. And before they knew it, they were turning their retirement farm into a chimpanzee sanctuary, which is now grown to over 130 chimps. And because of the size of it, it's actually physically the largest chimpanzee sanctuary in the world. Because of the size of it, it obviously requires a full staff, including a vet, and that's where Thalita comes into it. Thalita Calvi is the vet there at Chimfunji, and so we're still trying to get her up. And I can flip this vertically.
I am. And you are sideways.
Yeah, well, apparently we were going to try to do this horizontally so that we could save it and post it onto the YouTube channel as well, but that will be some clever editing that I have to do.
For those that don't know me, I'm Thalita. I'm the vet from Chimfunji. I've seen people are coming in, so let's see who else is going to come in. Hope you're well, Julie. Say hi. I saw some Brazilian flags there. Nice to see some fellow Brazilians here.
All right.
Hi, Marita. Oh, Joy's back.
That was a truly MacGyver move, and we will talk about MacGyver in a few minutes, because Thalita is the ultimate MacGyver. For those who are tuning in from Brazil and know her well, they will know that she's very capable of building anything out of nothing. So this was a bit of duct tape and some other things. So anyway, we're here. So first, I want to say hi, Thalita. I haven't seen you in a couple of weeks here, so it's good to see your face.
Hi, Joe.
Yeah, you were doing an introduction, so maybe we should. Before you jumped on and we got you back, I was kind of giving a brief kind of rundown about Chimfunji and its thing. But why don't we start by telling them how a nice Brazilian girl ended up in Zambia?
Well, yeah, so I'm Brazilian. I'm a vet, and I've been in Chimfunji for almost 6 years now, 5.5 years, and pretty much by luck. No, I've worked with primates before. I've been working with primates for a long time, and it's been one of my passions. And I'm a wildlife vet. I'm a zoo and wildlife vet. And I did my master's in the UK, and great apes kind of came into my life more actively a few years back. And in 2013, there was an opportunity to come to Chimpunchi. I didn't know what Chimpunchi was, for a health check, for a workshop. And I decided that sounded like a good break from my previous job.
A health check on chimpanzees.
Yeah, from a health check. It was
you.
No, not a health check on me. A health check in chimpanzees. It was a great ape workshop, great ape medicine workshop, and they were gonna do some health checks here for the first time. They didn't have a resident vet. And I decided, I had a previous job. I was doing something else in Brazil, and I decided that sounded like a good vacation, a 2-week break to work in chimpanzees. And I came, and then I really liked the place, and they said that they were looking for a vet, a permanent vet. And they said that I seemed like a good fit. About 6 months later, they called me and said, "Don't you want to come back?" And I said, "Yes." So a year later, I came, and I became the pretty much first long-term permanent vet to Chimpunchi.
And 6 years later, 5 years later,
I'm still here.
there.
Yeah.
And know a lot more about chimps than you did then, don't you?
Yeah, a lot more.
Well, that's great. Let's start off. Well, let's jump into little Joey kind of first thing, and since that might be why a lot of people have joined us, because we put up the original little Joey, which has got now, I think, over on the Apes Like Us channel on YouTube, and it's got over 400,000 views. And then we did and then the new one that we've just done, kind of looking at the last couple of years of his life. So I came there about 3 years ago, almost now, I guess, and it was just to do a piece for the channel on Chimpunji, like what goes on there, and it was supposed to be a month of filming, and then possibly come back and do some more filming depending on what happened. And then I think like the day before or a couple of days before I got there, bingo, you had this little baby in your hands. Yeah. And so our first introduction is I walk over there to see you, and you have this tiny little, I mean, it didn't look like much of anything. It's like a small kitten, it's really teeny weeny. I mean, how much did he weigh when you first had to rescue him?
Well, you got here, I think it was the day that I got him, or the day it was, I think you got here the night I got him, or the day afterwards. It was literally the day afterwards. I think he didn't weigh much than a kilo, a little bit over a kilo.
Yeah, so just because we've gotten a lot of questions over the last couple of years about this, there are two things. One is why you had to pull him, and then the other about little Jane, his mom, about her milk, because that was part of the issue, and a lot of questions about, what happened to her milk, why it didn't dry up when you took him, and all those kinds of things. So let's talk about that for just a minute so we can get everybody up to speed.
Okay. So the main thing with little Joey was he was born quite small, and his mom is a quite experienced mom, but she's a very tolerant mom. And he has an older brother, and his mom was being picked by the males of the enclosure, and she didn't wean his older brother. That means that as soon as he was born, he was sharing his milk with his older brother. So usually in the wild, the mother would have weaned that older brother, okay? And then a little bit before that the new baby was born, so that the baby would be the only that would have full supply of milk. Little Jane never did. Little Jones, little Joey older brother, is a very dependent juvenile, and little Jane is a very nice mom. And as soon as he was born, little Jane was being beaten up by the males, which is a very normal thing, and little Joey was weak. And he got scratched on the enclosure and got little scratches on his body, which got infected because he was a weak baby that was not getting enough milk. So that got him a general infection. So that's what made us pull that baby, because he was very skinny, he was not getting enough milk, and he had a generalized infection. So he was extremely sick. So we had to pull him or he was gonna die.
So that also explains why she never quit giving milk through this whole process, because
exactly.
She was nursing
little Jones. She was nursing little Jones. So little Jones carry on nursing normally for the whole period. So that was one of the worries that I didn't have during the whole process. So we have a few mothers here, so that means babies that are born here, and I've had to pull babies before. Little Joey wasn't the first, and I'm always worried about it. And with him, that was not a worry, because little Jones did the job for me. So I could stay for the whole month that we stayed with little Joey to fix him up, with little Jones carry on with the milking.
So there's hang on just a second, we're gonna check. Right there it goes. That's actually a picture of you with, I think that was the first health check. So
after I got him back.
Yeah, so I mean he's doing good. You got him back and he's doing well. And here, let's jump forward to right now very quickly. I mean, so he's there, he's doing really, really well. Again, in the second piece that we just put up, which by the way has gotten like 30,000 views already in just like, I don't know, it was a week or whatever it's been. But so everybody's trying to catch up and see what he's like and how he's doing. So how is he doing right this moment? When did you see him last? Like in the last couple of days or something?
Today.
Oh, today.
Today I actually posted a video on my personal Instagram of him. He's really cheeky, and I posted 2 videos. I saw him indoors, and then I saw him outdoors playing, and he's just a twirly, cheeky little boy. Jane we do have a very good connection. You know that, maybe the guys don't. Jane and I have a connection, so that's one of the things that I could trust her giving back, and I could trust that I could still go back and see him up close. And Joey is still very cheeky. I get there, he wants to give me his bum and he give me his feet, and then he just goes along with everybody and plays with every single male of the enclosure. He's just causing trouble. He's on the terrible twos.
I mean, do you think, I mean, obviously a lot of the chimps there recognize you. I mean, you are the vet, and you're checking in on them on a regular basis. Do you think in particular, because he spent that first month with you and then you've been checking in on him? I mean, I've seen you down there, I filmed you down there talking to him. You do converse with him a lot and talk to him, as well as Jane, a lot. Do you think that he recognizes you in a different or special way?
He does. It's hard to say that, but I don't know if he recognized me, because I got him back at a little bit over a month, but he never forgot my voice. Probably because I do speak a lot, I do talk a lot. He never forgot my voice. That's one thing that I know for sure, because I would go to the enclosure, and even, you know how so chimpanzees babies, even they're newborns, they would vocalize. They're born 1-2 days, and if the mom let them a little bit loose, they would do. So they'll complain. They'll definitely complain to the mother. And if I talk to him, he was with Jane, and I would talk around the enclosure, he would turn around. So I think he never forgot my voice. And then I carry on visiting him and checking on him, and being close to Jane. So for sure we built that link. And then last year I had to pull him again. So he again spent another month with me here. So he definitely knows me.
And why did you have to pull him last year?
Unfortunately, last year the whole enclosure got hit by a really bad cold, and he and Jane got hit really badly, and he almost died again. He had a bad pneumonia, and I had to pull him, and I had to do intensive treatment with him for about a month.
So a cold like you and I would get, or is a cold specific to chimpanzees?
No, unfortunately, chimpanzees are extremely sensitive to colds. Respiratory virus, the kind that you and I have, and the kind that probably that to you and me would cause just a common runny nose that would cause maybe a little fever or not even that we wouldn't even know we have, can kill chimpanzees. So that's one of the biggest worries we have with COVID right now, because COVID is dangerous and we know so little about in humans. We are so scared about it in chimpanzees. So luckily it hasn't happened, and no one has had any issue in the world yet with gray apes, but everybody's being extremely careful because we know
you shut
we
down
are
the sanctuary there, right?
Yes, we are shut down. We have our doors closed as a preventative measures, and there's still recommendations for all the tourist attractions and everything to be closed, or all the great ape attractions to be with extra preventative measures, because all the great apes, so the humans, the gorillas, the orangutans, the bonobos, and the chimpanzees, they all seem to have the same receptors where the coronavirus acts as it does in humans.
Yeah, and just for those of you listening in, I mean, that's true for a lot of diseases and viruses. They're called zoonotics, and there's a lot of them that jump between the great apes. Ebola's, the SIV, HIV, there's monkeypox, there's a number of viruses and diseases that can jump.
We are 98% genetically the same. So the diseases, it's natural that the diseases have can jump from one to the other. But as I said, they anatomically, they also don't deal well with respiratory viruses. And we as humans have been dealing with these viruses for millions and millions of years. Chimpanzees were in the bush, living within their groups, themselves in the forest. So they haven't evolved. They haven't evolved with these viruses.
So that brings up a question, I guess, for those who may be not familiar with, who haven't volunteered there or been to Chimpunji, it's a huge area, and these enclosures that the chimps are really, they're semi-wild enclosures. They happen to have a fence around them, but they're hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of acres. In fact, I think the enclosure where little Joey is, I think we talked about it once, it's bigger than half the metropolitan zoos in the world. So it's a huge area in which the chimps have an opportunity. Does that present challenges to you as a vet, especially dealing with a respiratory outbreak, or dealing with when you're trying to manage the care of little Joey and little Jane and the others?
Oh yeah, the group that little Joey is actually the biggest group of chimpanzees in captivity in the world. We're currently with 55 individuals, and it is the biggest group, like one group that doesn't share. It's not split. It's one cohesive group that acts as a proper social group. So if we say it's a semi-captivity because they sleep outside, they nest outside, but it's still a captive group because there's a fence around them, and we do provision, we give them food. It comes with, and so their enclosure is about 230, almost 250 acres, okay, of forest. They come in, and I have only access to them for about an hour and a half a day, and that's it. The rest of the day, they are within themselves.
And that's voluntary access, right? I mean,
it's voluntary access because I open the indoors and I say, come on, and they come if they want. So if I have a chimp that's extremely sick or that really don't feel well and say, I'm not coming in, I'm not coming in. And for me as a vet, is extremely challenging because what can I do? They are in this forest where they can figure out themselves and they can be with their friends. And if they want to be, it's a juvenile, they want to be with their mom and their mom doesn't want to come in. There's nothing I can do. I can, you know, do, offer food and offer treats and play around the fence line and see if I can throw something to them. But it's 230 acres. Once I don't see them, I don't see them.
That brings up a question that we've gotten on the channel on multiple occasions, especially when it comes to little Joy, because they say little Joy and they ask the question, well, why was he born in captivity? To be clear, I mean, most of the chimps that are there have been rescued, and I think it's 19 countries, is it?
Yes.
Something like that.
I don't know on top of my head, but we've
17,
rescued
19.
from all over the world.
Yeah, I mean, chimps as far away as Chile and, all over the place.
Israel, Germany, mostly
Right.
from African countries, but we do have chimps that have come from South America.
Yeah. So there's actually kind of that brings up two questions, I guess, that we've been asked a lot. And one is like, why are there babies there? And I think since you were just talking about the size of the enclosure and how difficult it is to access it, there is a policy there. I mean, you are working on, birth control measures and stuff, but why don't you address that so people understand how a baby happens to be born, an oops baby?
Yeah. Well, in the beginning, our founder Sheila believed that chimps needed to be chimps, and she wanted to give the opportunity of them to be chimps. And babies are part of it. It's a very important part of being chimps and being part of the social dynamics. So they did have quite a few babies. So I do have quite a few that are born here. Nowadays, we are working with controlling, and we still have some babies because, as I said, babies are important for the social dynamics of chimpanzee groups. Having this babies and juveniles and adults and old, it's the natural situation of a chimpanzee group. But we don't need as much, and we need to control that. Our enclosures do allow that. But we do have chimps that never come in because they have this forest that they can decide if they want to come in or not. And we try, but they never come in. So that means that we put them in the pill and we put them with implants, but implants fail and pill fail. So once in a while we do have, a baby, which means that they're on the pill and one day they spit the pill out or they didn't take their full dose of the pill. And as we know, most of the contraceptives can have failures. And with chimpanzees, which the contraceptions are, they are made for humans. So like one of the implants which we use can last up to 5 years in humans. We know that hormones and everything in chimps, we use it, but we say 3 years. Here with the social dynamics that we see, I'm already exchanging them with 2.5.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So, and to do that, I have to do a full anesthesia. That means I need to dart them. And so if that chimp doesn't come indoors, I cannot do it.
Right. Yeah.
So if I miss that window, then sometimes when I'm able to dart them, they're already pregnant. So then sometimes you do have a baby here and there. So that's how, as an example, little Joy was born. His mother was pretty old. I don't want to put her on hormones because she hadn't had a baby in 8 years, and then suddenly there comes little Joy.
Right. Yeah. The other question, because of the size and we were talking about diseases a minute ago too, is the quarantine issue, because all the chimps there are from so many other places. That brings up some really interesting social dynamics, and I don't know, maybe we can, because our time is limited today, maybe we have another one of these talks and talk about social dynamics and things like that. But it is an interesting issue that goes on at Chimpunji that I learned once I was there, because most of the sanctuaries that I had filmed in around the world, whether they're in Borneo with orangutans or wherever, right, gorillas, chimps, the animals come from that place, right? If it's a sanctuary in Cameroon, the animals come from Cameroon and they're in that sanctuary. If they're Borneo, they come from Borneo. Chimpunji, on the other hand, is in Zambia. There are no native chimpanzees today in Zambia. And so all these animals are coming from all over the world, and there are multiple subspecies and subcultures of chimpanzees around the world. So maybe you could talk just a little bit about what that challenge for you is, when you're getting in animals that are coming from Gabon, they're coming from, wherever, Congo, from South Sudan, wherever they happen to be coming. So you've got this mixed group of animals coming in. They have to be quarantined. There's that process to make sure that they're not moving diseases from there. Anyway, I'll let you talk.
Yeah, so any animal that comes in goes through a quarantine period, and that needs to be very strict. And we need to do a whole bunch of tests to make sure that they're not bringing anything, because we have resident chimps here, and Zambia is within the historical range of chimpanzees, but we don't. But it's not on range of chimpanzees anymore. They are gone from this area for a long time. So there's no even reports on, for as much as there's physical records of chimpanzees in Zambia. So we need to make sure everything is safe. So we try to keep groups from the same areas together. We try to test for as much as we can to make sure everything is safe, and we are not putting none of the chimps that have been in here in danger, none of our workers in danger, none of our monkeys that are around in danger. So it's a very extensive work and quite challenging too, and quite expensive to do it too.
So, and for just a tiny second here, let's talk about the challenge of having chimps that are, let's say you do get, I mean, I was there once where you got in, we got 5 or 6 came in. You had Grace and Layla, who people might know, 2 chimps, really wonderful chimps. And then we got in, 6 chimps? 5?
6 chimps
came in.
All at one time.
Yeah, like a month later or something. It was a very short period of time. And those chimps had come from all over the place. And I know one of the things that you mentioned to me was just they don't know how to speak chimp. Yeah. Which I thought was a really, in fact, I really want to do a whole segment on Apes Like Us about that whole idea of language and culture and dialects and everything. But for just a brief moment, talk about the challenge of having chimps from these different places. That was really fascinating.
Yeah, so Layla is a great example. Chimps have different cultures. People don't think about this, but chimps have different cultures. Chimps have different languages, so different from different areas. Chimps from different areas, chimps from different groups, they communicate differently. Mm-hmm. And when these babies are, when they're poached, when their families get taken and they get put in situations, the bad situations that they come from, a lot of times they stop communicating, so they forget. And depending on how long they've been, they don't really know how to communicate with another monkey or another chimp. That you see that with monkeys too. And Layla is a good example. Layla didn't know how to speak chimp. Layla came from Angola, and you put another chimp in front of her, she didn't know how to react. She didn't know how to gesture. She didn't know how to vocalize. she's still learning. It's been almost 2 years that she's with the group. And the other day I got myself quite excited because I saw her penhoting because I've never heard her doing it before.
Oh,
So
really? Wow.
she's learning. Because before she never knew it. She didn't know how to vocalize like a proper chimpanzee. All she did was to do her head shake, which she learned how to do it so that people would throw food at her when she was tied at the hotel place where she lived. So it's people don't think about it, but when you get the chimps from all over and you just put them together, of course they're gonna fight. Of course they might have some miscommunications when you're trying to quarantine all of them together because they might not speak the same language.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I find that really fascinating, and I just don't think it's something that I certainly didn't think about it as much, and I'm sure most people don't think about it because we kind of think it's a chimp, right? And it's like, and I think we now know that chimps have, but it's over 30 some vocalizations or combinations of vocalizations to communicate ideas and thoughts, and those are their vocalizations. It's not like a human taught them those things. So I want to spin it back around, kind of on the same theme, but spin it also back around to LJ, or Little Joy.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things is Chimpunji, because of the size of the enclosures and because of these semi-wild sort of groupings and social groupings, and the fact that you do see behaviors, it has become a real, I think it's a real, I don't know the right word for it, I guess, but a fond place for researchers to come,
Yes.
because they can make observations that, I mean, where in the wild they'd have to try to trek after a group for miles and miles, and they never actually see a lot of these behaviors. Here, they can actually make a lot of observations. So not only are there researchers coming there from different universities and places around the world, but it seems like there's a real there would be a real opportunity for volunteers or visitors or stuff too to be engaged in making observations. I mean, you and the staff obviously are constantly making observations and on behaviors and things that you see. That I know you were showing me the clasping.
Yeah, the hand clasping.
Grooming thing.
Yeah.
Which was really interesting. So yeah.
We learn behaviors. I learn every day. I have to say, I get surprised by different things that I learn every single day. So I guess there is multiple research questions that can be answered and things that we never thought about it. I can give an example. This 2 months ago, end of the rainy season, I'm standing there with my camera in front of me. Suddenly, I see a chimp do something, and I go, "What is he doing?" It's one of my big males that I really like. Then suddenly, the other big male that's also a good friend of mine do the same behavior, and I go, "What's that?" 2 seconds later, two juveniles do exactly the same behavior, which is they roll on their back and they do a little dance on the high grass. And I go, "What's that?" Then suddenly it clicked. Then I looked at my keeper and I said, "How do chimpanzees dry their back after the rain?" They look at me and say, "Don't know." I said, "You've been working here for 15 years. How do chimpanzees dry their back after the rain?" It's like, "I don't know. I think they just do like this." I've said, "No, they roll on their back and they do a little dance." And they couldn't believe it. And I actually got that on camera. I got both, they're both Zabu, Mikey, and two juveniles doing one straight after the other. And that's how chimpanzees can, I don't know if all chimpanzees, but at least the chimps at enclosure number 2 decided that that's how they're going to take some of the water that's on the outer layer of their hair. They're going to dry their back. You know how people can use the towels
Yeah.
No, they just roll on their back and do a little dance to get all the water out. I've been here for 6 years, almost 6 rainy seasons, and that was the first time I saw it.
Huh.
And I
Wow.
have keepers that never seen it.
Yeah.
So you just learn things by, you just sit there and you just get surprised every day.
Yeah. No, that is what is so amazing about that place, is that you could sit there every day and learn something new. And especially if you're just kind of looking at it. I mean, I was filming one of the researchers from France, I think it was, down there, and I mean, her observations were, she was really focused on something very specific. So her observations were like that, but there were so many other things going on. I just thought you could have 20 researchers sitting there all looking at different things, and there would always be something going on. We only have a few minutes left. And so I want to jump back to Little Joy, and talk about him. Um, First thing is, do you have is there like a favorite thought or recollection or something that he does that just stands out to you?
Uh, he's just a cheeky little thing. So he's just he's just really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I remember you. And first of all, I want to, before I forget, I want to say thanks for this little update piece that we did on the channel. A lot of the video at the end of that was yours, and thank you for sending that and getting it to us so that we could include it, because I haven't been there for a few months now, but so it was great to see that. But I love his little spinning, the little,
He lo-
and I know all chimps do it, but that little kind of
I
twirling.
I posted that again today. He was doing it again in front of everybody's eating. He's just doing that nonstop now.
Yeah.
It's his little thing now.
Yeah, that is like such a cool, cute little thing for baby chimps when they just start. I would love to have like 10 cameras from all different angles photographing that, so you could put it together so people, well, maybe we'll pull it off one day, but so people could see that.
He's been on a troll. He's spinning nonstop.
Yeah.
That literally people like the big males are getting him by the side and putting him aside because he just spins in front of him.
How does he get along with the big males? How does he get along with
Yes.
everybody there?
Yes, yeah. So I posted again a video of a big male playing with him today. Yesterday he was playing with another one. He plays with all the big males. So Jane is a very is she is middle to high ranking. She's very close to the big males.
Mm-hmm.
So he spends a lot of time playing with the big males, which is great for him. For his future, it's great.
Yeah, yeah. We should just, you're mentioning posting, for those of who have come to this live from Apes Like Us, what is your handles, or what's your IG that they follow to see more postings about Little Joy?
Yeah, so we do it at the Chimpunchi Wildlife. And then I do on my personal things sometimes. Today I posted a few videos of him today. So that is on Tata Calvi. Sometimes Chimpunchi Wildlife will reshare mine. So if you want to see some videos of him from today, it's on my personal one. So maybe Apes Like Us can reshare mine,
Right.
or because then it will be there, but it's Tata Calvi with THA.
Okay.
But it's there. Yeah.
We'll get them up and we'll share them both here and then on our Facebook page as
Yeah,
well.
because those videos are from today, so then you would see roughly what he looks like today.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll jump off here in just a sec because it's getting late there. I know it's for us, it's early morning here we're on the west coast of North America, but it's getting late there, and you probably have a full day of work tomorrow to do there. Being the only vet and 100 and what is it now total? 130 chimps, 35,
36 from
36.
2 days ago. I got.
Jeez. I can't. I've seen you.
I have. Yeah, I got
you running
another one.
Running all over the place there. I can't believe that you managed to deal with that many chimps every day and all the other stuff that you have to do, because you're not, and I know this, I've seen you, it's not just chimps, it's every little owl that you found on the road, or chameleon, or snakes, and your interests are all over the place. And we should do a whole thing on that one day too, just everything non-chimp that you do and the craziness that you're involved in there. So
yeah, I currently have an owl and a hawk here with me too. So those are on the side.
Well, we'll jump off here. For those of you who haven't seen the new update on Little Joy, or by some chance haven't even seen the original, you can go to our Apes Like Us channel on YouTube and see those. And you can also sign up for if you go to our website at globio.org, you can sign up for Primate of the Month, and we put up different stuff about different primates, not just chimps, but other primates, which you have a few of there that you've also taken in baboons and vervet monkeys and other things there. So anyway, our Primate of the Month newsletter comes to your inbox, and we have videos and all kinds of stuff going on there. So, but thanks for doing this. Really appreciate you taking some time this evening. I know you, I know what the end of your days are like. You're pretty exhausted half the time, so I appreciate you jumping on and doing this with us.
My pleasure.
Cool. All right.
Talk about Little Joy is always, I love that guy. So
yeah, it'll be fun. I will try to get back there one of these days pretty soon. We'll keep updating him over the course of his life. He's going to be a fun little chimp to follow, especially after such a rough beginning. So
yeah.
Anyway, thanks again, Thalita, and take care. Have a good night. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you very soon. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Yes. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today. I hope you had fun, at least learned a little bit, and we'll try to do this again soon. Okay. Bye-bye.